Hey guys, out of 555 here. Today we're going to be talking about what everyone's talking about in the world today, and that is how an infectious disease is causing havoc in everyone's daily lives. Now, I don't really want to mention what this disease is because YouTube and how it rates videos in the list, and also how it does ad revenue, actually will mean that I won't earn any money from this video, from ad revenue. So I'll just keep it hush-hush, but you all know what I'm talking about. Now, here in Toowoomba, we're a pretty isolated country town, so it's not really affecting us at the moment, with the exception of supply shortages that are basically caused by panic buying. So if you weren't already aware, there's a lot of panic buying going on in the shops for hand sanitizer, P2 masks, or N95, which is the rating, which protects against airborne diseases as well as smoke as well, and essentials such as toilet paper, flour, sugar, basic essentials really of what people would need if they were to be locked down. A lot of people are watching news reports from overseas, such as in Wuhan and northern Italy, where essentially they've locked down the entire area to try and contain the spread of this disease. That's an effective measure, but it's kind of like a last resort when you can't really contain it. Now, here in Australia, people are just paying it off because they're just like, it won't affect us. And they're probably well and truly doing the right thing in most likeliness. But if you haven't already been out to the shops and purchased yourself some essential supplies to get you through, if you were to be locked down for 1 month, then you're a bit silly, because it could quite possibly happen. And even if it doesn't, well, you've got a month's worth of supply in your back pocket. So if prices around the globe spike, you can actually, not have to fork out an arm and a leg for a loaf of bread. Now, demand for oil has dropped, but here in Australia, the oil prices, or the fuel prices, I should say, at the pump are still relatively high. They could probably be 20 cents a litre cheaper, but the fuel companies are making a bit of profit off of that. People are also, and this is happening all over the world, buying up supplies of hand sanitizer and P2 masks and reselling them online. I had a look the other day when we were at Bunnings, because we'd like to be a little bit prepared, and we got ourselves some P2 masks just in case. We weren't overboard with what we purchased, it was just enough for 2 people. But people are actually buying packets of these from Bunnings and reselling them online for twice the price. And this is only going to get worse as the epidemic becomes a pandemic, which it most likely will. Because there's been a lot of supply and demand mismatches, a lot of people out there are having to source them from overseas if they need them for their jobs and things like that. So, like plasterers, for example, might need some masks and they no longer can get them. So it's not just affecting people that are going to get sick. Now, Australia has a stockpile of masks, which is about 20 million masks. And people have looked at that and gone, hang on a second, they're disposable. You need at least 5 of them per person. So that means now you've got 5 million people with masks. That's not enough for the entire population of Australia if it was to become a pandemic. It's just enough for the healthcare workers. So it's basically caused a bit of a supply shortage with people using common sense. Now, there is a lot of hype and hysteria about this, and Donald Trump has been playing it all down. I've seen in media reports where he just gives basic answers like, nah, it's not going to happen, she'll be right, mate. If he was Australian, that's how he'd phrase it. And the missus actually pointed this out. He doesn't answer his questions how a politician should, let alone a leader of his country. He doesn't answer it with facts. He doesn't say what's going to be happening. He doesn't say what measures are going to be put in place to help people if it does become a pandemic. He's just basically playing it down, saying none of this will happen to America, it will be safe. And you can see in the latest media reports where they've only tested 400 people so far, so 100% it will be widespread in America. So it's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. So I'm actually really interested to hear from you all that are watching this video to see how it is affecting your daily lives, especially when it comes to supply and demand shortages, and what steps you have taken to become prepared. If you haven't already prepared, I suggest going out there and buying at least 2 weeks worth of supplies. That way you're not going to go out there and rip everything off the shelves, but at least 2 weeks will be a little bit more sufficient than only living like between 3 days. And you know, most single blokes probably do that. They just order out a lot and don't have much supplies at home. But if it does come to your town and come to the point where you do get locked down, you need to be able to survive. You can't rely on the government or charity organisations to do it for you. If you can, just get out there and buy some basic essentials. Get yourself the toilet papers and your tin soups and your rice and maybe some fruits and maybe some seeds as well. That might help. So if it does go longer, you can just grow your own stuff. But everyone needs to really take it seriously, because it can definitely affect not only the economy, the supply chain of getting goods, but also the most vulnerable people in our society, being children and the elderly. It can affect them. If you're an older person and you have medication, I would suggest taking the steps to get some more medication on your next time you go to the chemist. Just get your scripts all up to date, so that way you're not going to be left without your medication if you need it. If you are able to, get some hand sanitizer, because prevention is better than the cure. So if you've been touching stuff, then you can clean your hands with hand sanitizer. But if it's anything like the shops here, there is no hand sanitizer. So just get some Dettol soap or some other antibacterial soap and use that instead. And if you're in a place like Australia, in a country town or something like that, you don't need to wear your mask every day. Just keep it safe so you know where it is. And most people won't need to wear a mask. Keep it safe. There's going to be a massive supply shortage of them. These masks are going to be worth $20 each shortly. So don't waste them unless you need them. If you're in an area that there is reported cases, yeah, definitely put it on if that's what the government or healthcare professionals are advising you do. But just use some common sense. You're probably not going to get corona unless there's a containment breach. And you will know this because you can just go online and check out reported cases and things like that. So here, at least in Australia, you're more likely to get caught up in panic buying. So only buy what you need, really, and try and keep each other safe, all right? There's no need to go over the top and be like, oh, I'm not going to go and do things. You can still do things, but if the reports start coming up in the next week or two that there's more people getting contaminated with unknown sources of origin for this disease, then I'd be very, very scared in Australia. But at this stage, it's perfectly fine to carry on with your daily activities. Well, as usual, keep safe out there on the roads, stay on 2 wheels and not on your head, don't drink too many Coronas, and I'll see you all next Tuesday. Laters! That's